Mind, body, and even spirit are more important for your well-being than perhaps we ever thought. That health is a complex thing. We are beginning to move beyond pain and the brain being some neurological process. Because what is mindfulness is to be aware, and that is not just a brain in a jar. It is, what is my body doing right now? What is my experience of this moment? And that is where we almost get into the spiritual realm. Our sense of belonging, our sense of connection, our sense of an energetic quality to our existence, and if that is our awareness of another and the presence of another being, and we know its impact energetically from the research. So, this we might call that spiritual dimension, which is beyond just tissues, organs, sensations going on within the body, and thoughts and cognition. We know that our sense of human connection has a very important role and part to play in our well-being. There's lots of research around isolation and things like Alzheimer's in later life, and health outcomes of people with loneliness, etc. And so these are important things in our spiritual connection to the rest of humanity and life. If we're looking at the importance of our body and somatic awareness of the felt sense of our emotional content, our experience as a human being, it's why I love Peter Levine's term somatic experiencing, because I think it's brilliant. Because what is our experience as we move through our lives? And that experience is way beyond cognitive, verbal words as I'm doing right now. I'm trying to convey through words something which is beyond words in some respects. Yes, there is a numinous quality to our existence, something without words, that is important that we are connected with. And really our connectedness to other people, but our connectedness to ourselves is really, really important. Our sense of really being aware of what's going on, having the ability and the capacity to be with everything which is going on, and to be able to hold that and to regulate that, and to regulate it, to be able to process it and to allow it to move, to flow through. And trauma is really anything which overwhelms that. And an overwhelm might create disconnect from that. And so it's this disconnection from that and suppression of that, which might be necessary as a way of saying, I just don't feel safe to be in contact with these feelings. All right, okay, well, that's good to know, all right? But maybe our work is to be able to help people to restore connection to their entire experience. And that might be their experience with self. It might be their experience with other humans in a relational way. And relationships with self and relationships with others are really important in health. The research is there for this. And if we're going to connect with something, then we need to be aware. And so awareness, mindfulness, being aware of mind and body and spirit, and these dimensions of our experience and existence are really important. And any disconnect or sense that we are not and don't have a spiritual dimension will almost always lead to problems. And I'm thinking as I'm speaking here, in the addiction realm, which sometimes I find myself working with, in the 12-step plan, which isn't the only mechanism to deal with addiction, but it's a strong one. And one big part of that is what they call a spiritual dimension. Now, that can be misconstrued as meaning that it needs to have a deity in some way. It doesn't. It originally began with that. But, I have peers in that working in that field. And know many people in recovery, and to recognize that there is a spiritual a part of their existence, that there is a connection to. I feel better when I walk in a forest, and by the way, there's a whole pile of research around forest bathing and its impact, on our well-being. What the heck is that? Well, maybe we just want to call that spiritual, but that's got such connotations that people go, oh no, I've had religion rammed down my throat. Okay, I get it. But the spiritual dimension needs to be accepted as well as the physical dimension and as well as the cognitive intellectual dimension, because they're all part of our existence, and any disconnection from any of that is going to mean problems. And I think that leads to dis-ease and disease. So, yeah, I think it's really important that we have a connection to mind, body and spirit, for our well-being. And I think that's an important paradigm for healthcare to consider going forwards. Hi, I'm Roger. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons.